Welcome into another episode of Ravens Reports, our NFL free agency edition, man. We have some very fun possible free agents that the Baltimore Ravens can bring in. We are only 19 days away from the legal tampering period where NFL free agency officially opens and players can negotiate contracts. So today, I got 5 players that the Baltimore Ravens could be targeting and have been connected to via multiple reports in the media. So let's go ahead and dive into the content. The first top target that could be fun and is quite literally a target is Darius Slayton, the wide receiver who has been with the New York Giants over the last 6 seasons and quite frankly a very miserable offense with inconsistent coaching and quarterback play. Really hasn't had a guy that can throw him the ball consistently, and despite that, over the last 3 seasons, he has 2 seasons over 700 yards and in 1 season over 570 yards, despite playing in a very poor offense. Darius Slayton also only 28 years old. And if you may ask, why Darius Slayton? You know, we got Zay, we got Bate. But here's the thing, guys. The Baltimore Ravens have 3 wide receivers on their roster right now. I understand they have Dayton Wade and they just signed Anthony Miller to a future deal, but really right now it's Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and Devontae Walker. So they need a 3/4, and they need some more depth. If a guy were to go down, if Zay Flowers or Bateman were to go down like we saw in the playoff game against the Bills, Who's catching passes from Lamar Jackson besides our tight ends? We need some more wide receiver depth, and I think Darius Slayton has been grossly underutilized. Anytime I've ever flipped on a Giants game, he's the guy that pops off the screen the most. He's really good at running routes over the middle of the field, which Lamar Jackson is really good at throwing those type of routes. He's really good at slants. He has speed to separate downfield and get open downfield, and he's got a bigger frame compared to some of the receivers on the Ravens roster right now. He's 6'1", 190 pounds, so he adds a little bit more flavor to the Ravens wide receiver room, some more size, some more separation ability, some more over-the-middle slot receiver type of stuff, as well as the ability to win on the outside. And he's only 28 years old, and I think he's still got some very high-level football left in him, and I think he'd be the perfect wide receiver 3 next to Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers. And Ravens need more wide receiver depth. They just don't even have enough guys on the roster right now. They need a wide receiver 3/4 bad, and I think Darius Slayton would be an awesome fit without breaking the bank in free agency. Let's talk about another wide receiver that hasn't had the highest numbers in his career, but again, poor quarterback play. The Ravens could get a lot more out of this guy. It's Elijah Moore. He started his career with the New York Jets, was a second-round pick, I believe, then traded to the Browns. Had inconsistent quarterback play between Zach Wilson, Jameis Winston, Deshaun Watson, and others. But despite that, the last 2 years, he's had over 500 yards. He actually had a nice game against the Baltimore Ravens, if you can recall. He had he had 1 game over 100 yards this last season, and he's very talented. He's quick. He's more of a slot guy. He's a little bit of a smaller frame, but we're talking about needing more guys in the roster and more talent. Might not break the bank. Only 24 years old. I like Elijah Moore. I just think the Baltimore Ravens need more wide receiver talent. And I don't think they're going to invest a high draft pick this year. So I think a mid-tier free agent, to come kind of round out the room, and then a guy maybe in the later of the rounds, and then we got Devontae Walker, would shore up that wide receiver room quite nicely. And especially, we got Derrick Henry, likely and Andrews and Lamar, I think, would have a nice supporting cast, some nice pass catchers. Elijah Moore, Darius Slayton, I think would be a great add to the Ravens wide receiver room to just have more weapons, especially if you want to go, 11 personnel, 3 wide, spread them out. I like these 2 receivers as guys that aren't going to break the bank, but still are younger and have talent. The next guy up is a guy that's older, but is still producing at a high level, and that would shore up the Ravens pass rush, Khalil Mack. This guy's going to cost a lot of money. We know this because pass rushers get paid. But here's the thing, man. The guy has 23 sacks over the last 2 seasons. This last year, he had a 90.4 PFF grade. That's fifth out of 211 edge rushers. So at 33 years old, was the 5th best edge rusher in the National Football League, according to PFF. 23 sacks over the last 2 years. Guy is still getting after the quarterback. He's also good in run defense. I think if he's got more football left and he still wants to go, bring him on in. That could be the guy that gets us over the hump. We saw how the Eagles beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. It was getting after Mahomes with a 4-man rush. I think Khalil Mack, Van Noy, Owe, Matabike, and Travis Jones would be a nice start. Plus, the Ravens could add some guys in the draft. We need some more depth in that defensive line. It's good, but I want it to be great. I want our trenches to be elite on both sides of the football. That's how you win in the postseason. And Khalil Mack, I think, would get after the quarterback and help the Ravens get home with a 4-man rush more consistently. Now, Justin Reid is our next guy, another safety. The Ravens have a need in their defensive back room right now. Okay, check this out. We know Marcus Williams is about to be released. Eddie Jackson was already released. That's 2 safety spots opened. We also have Brandon Stevens and Tre'Davious White as free agents. So that's 4 defensive backs that are going to be probably departing in free agency, not with the Ravens next year. They need some more guys to come in. I think they're going to bring in at least 1 or 2 guys in free agency, whether it's a corner or a safety, and probably at least 2 guys in the draft. Now, TJ Tampa is a corner that's young and upcoming. Jalen Armour-Davis has shown flashes, but he's been often injured. Justin Reid has been a playmaker for the Chiefs over the last few years. Also was a high-level safety for the Texans. 76.9 PFF grade, which was 20th out of 120 safeties. So, elite top third portion of the league there in safety play. 12th in overall coverage grade. He had 87 tackles and 2 picks. Justin Reid has been a playmaker for the Chiefs and helped bolster their secondary. Plus, he has got connection with the new coach, whenever he was a safety coach with the Chiefs. So keep an eye on that. The Ravens need some more defensive backs. If Kyle Hamilton comes to nickel, Justin Reid could start at safety next to Darius Washington. And Kyle Hamilton could be that nickel DB / blitzer / everything, chess piece, Swiss Army knife. Marlon Humphrey, can also play outside or inside. So you got some versatility, but you need some more defensive backs because you're losing quite a few guys in free agency. Probably Stevens and Tre'Davious White, and Marcus Williams is about to be out the door. Another guy, our 5th guy, is Justin Simmons, 31 years old, all right? Had a high-level career with the Broncos before he was signed in free agency by the Falcons. Didn't have the greatest PFF grades this year with the Falcons, but, the Atlanta's defense was very inconsistent all over the place, and they really struggled to get after the quarterback, which puts a lot of strain on the secondary. However, despite that, he still had 62 tackles and 2 interceptions. He also has, 6 career interceptions on Patrick Mahomes. And we know we're probably going to see Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. So a guy that can play against Mahomes well in the secondary would be nice. And Justin Simmons, like I said, 31 years old. I still think he's got a nice couple of years left in the tank. Could be a starter next to our Darius Washington or Kyle Hamilton. Then you could put our Darius in the slot. Man, you got a lot of options, but you need more defensive backs on the roster, and I think you could truly build a no-fly zone if you brought in one of these Justin Reid or Justin Simmons. I think they'd help bolster that secondary. And like I said, I expect the Ravens to draft some guys in this upcoming draft as well. So to recap our top 5 targets, we'll have some more coming out for you guys in another episode. This is just the first free agency episode. But Darius, Slayton, Elijah Moore, 2 wide receivers that are still under 30, have had production with poor quarterback play and will not necessarily break the bank, but could help bolster the wide receiver core, a wide receiver 3/4. And also guys that if a wide receiver were to go down are capable of being wide receiver 2s. So Elijah Moore, Darius Slayton, Khalil Mack to add some juice to the pass rush. Justin Reid and Justin Simmons are our 5 free agent targets. Let me know in the comment section below who you think the Baltimore Ravens are going to bring in free agency. They don't have a ton of salary cap, but they're definitely going to be adding someone in free agency, and they have some options to open up salary cap. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, I just want to let you know that we just dropped our 2nd video on the new Emboldened channel where we're talking about life, faith, being a true disciple of Jesus Christ. We started that other channel, dropping our 2nd video. So make sure you go check out that channel if you guys are interested. I'll leave it in the description below. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all, and we'll see you in the next video.
hit Ray when he wasn't looking. He ran me over.